Megaherzzz. You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. I am Sisi. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm joined in the studio by my wonderful co-hosts.
I'm August. My pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Sarah, and my pronouns are also they, them.
This is the last Megaherzzz of the year, and that is sad and exciting at the same time because time does move forward. There will be another one, but it will just be in 2026. But we're going to look back at the year
2025 in review.
Yes.
In
Megareview.
Yeah, this is the Megaherzzz Megareview.
Yes, love that. And we're going to be looking at news of this year. We're going to be looking at music of this year. Yeah, Peaches has done a lot this year.
A lot of remixes.
Yes.
And a lot of collaborations and a new album that is coming out as well. And it's coming out on vinyl.
Oh my gosh.
You can pre-order it now.
We were just talking about Peaches tours and I thought, oh no, she's not going to come back. But if there's a new album.
I'm really, really hoping, because I have not actually seen Peaches. Sisi did disclose, as we were listening to that track, Sisi, you've actually got to see Peaches
I have,
for real.
With my mum and my best friend, like 2 years ago at the Powerhouse. And she came out in this massive inflatable penis and like actually walked through this big inflatable penis over the top of the entire crowd. And then her guitarist was just like this absolute shredder, had like a double mohawk and poured champagne into me and my best friend's mouth.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What a great performer. I really hope that she comes back and brings champagne with her because I am here for that.
My mouth is open. My mouth is already open.
So we're going to talk about some of the best femme-fronted acts and showcases we saw this year. I'll start. I thought that Sonic Alien Jordan's Alien She was an awesome event. It showcased a completely femme-fronted lineup, and Jordan put in many hours of work into painting little silver stars and writing the names of femme and non-binary folk in the Megangan music scene.
It was so fab. It's so thoughtful too.
Yes, literally. And Jordan put so much work into platforming femme artists, so shout out to her. She's amazing.
Love you, Jordan. Shout out to Jordan.
And also some of the bands, I feel this was exciting to me, but I think that there are a lot of bands that are doing this. So if you know of a band that is doing this, let us know and we'll give a shout out to them as well, because I think that it's not exclusive to this band, but Tomorrow's Forecast released an EP this year and it worked exclusively with femme producers and women in the music industry at every level of production. So that's really exciting to hear. And I think that Sacred Hearts also did that.
They have. Sacred Hearts have come out and said that they only hire femme-fronted bands or femme bands in total for their shows, which I think is fantastic too.
And I know that Joy and Whimsy also puts a lot of effort into having majority femme-fronted lineups. So good on these Brisbane collectives and bands for putting in the effort and, you know, actually following through with what they preach, at every stage.
Absolutely. And we were all just kind of talking about, before we went on air, about some of the best femme-fronted bands that we've seen perform. And, we all saw a lot of really cool femme-fronted bands at Z50, which was earlier this year. Standout of the day for me was Full Flower Moon Band. They were insane. Baby Shakes Dillon is just an incredible front woman. She was working those cameras. She was having a great time. them with the cameras. And I'm so sorry, it slipped my mind. What was the band that you were?
Viper Snatch.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they were super, super cool. I saw a bit of Dancing Water's set as well, and she was incredible. So yeah, plenty of good ones there.
Before we get into our next segment, I would like to acknowledge that we are broadcasting from the stolen lands of the Turrbal and Yagara people. Sovereignty over this land was never ceded, always was, always will be Aboriginal land. We usually do that at the start of the show, but it doesn't matter what time we do it.
There's no wrong time to acknowledge country.
Yes,
Very
exactly.
true.
All day, every day.
Exactly. Our next segment, we have made a commitment to talk about. It's incredibly hard to hear, so if you need to practice self-care and tune out, please do that. Look after yourself and your mental health. It is a particularly hard time for a lot of people, so take care. And we're talking about femicide, so it's very hard stuff. Over to you, Sarah.
Yeah, we want to acknowledge and commemorate two women who were allegedly murdered in the past week. Anasini Wakavuki, is a 38-year-old woman who has been allegedly murdered by her partner on December 28th in New South Wales, and he was a former partner of Anasini, and she is the 10th woman that has been killed in December, and the 73rd Australian woman killed this year, according to the research of Sherele Moody. Also like to honour Superior Thakur, who was by all accounts an amazing woman who was on her way to becoming a nurse and helping people in her community. She was 36 at the time that she was allegedly murdered in her home in Northfield, South Australia, last Sunday. And she was also murdered by a former partner who has been charged with her murder. And so that, is just an awful state of affairs. These are women who had left their partners in search of a better life and a new start and a fresh start, and were denied that chance. So we just want to acknowledge them and say their names and say that they are important.
They matter.
Absolutely. And as we've said, please look after yourselves. We know that this is a very heavy topic to be hearing about. If you or someone you know needs help, we have some domestic violence hotline numbers here. We've got the support line, which is 1-800-RESPECT or 1-800-737-732. We've got DV Connect Women's Line, which is 1-800-811-811, and DV Connect Men's Line, 1-800-600-636.
We know that the holidays and this period can be a particularly hard time, and we do see the rates of domestic violence reported go up drastically, and that's just reported. So please, if being in an environment that's very close with somebody in your life that's unsafe, please, if it's safe to do so, talk to somebody about it.
And and if somebody does talk to you about this, take it seriously. Both of these women reached out to friends and said that their partner or ex-partner was acting strange and that they were afraid and could possibly have been prevented. I mean, it is nobody's fault but the person committing the violence, absolutely. But if there is, if you do have somebody that has reached out to you for help, do take that seriously.
And I'm not 100% sure of this, but I know that if someone has reached out in your life and they are experiencing domestic violence, I'm sure that you could call one of these hotlines for support and help on what to do. So again, if that's something that applies to you, 1-800-RESPECT, 1-800-737-732.
You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ, and that was Freckles by Thelma Plumb. And I chose that song because we're doing our year in review, and I couldn't not acknowledge the wonderful and beautiful Denise, who was my lovely co-host and announcer here on Megaherzzz, who sadly passed away. And yeah, it's been a time without her, and it's so hard doing the show without her. But she will always be a part of Megaherzzz, and a part of what we do here, and such an important part of everything here. So,
and it's very beautiful to us that we get to share the air with Ez. Who is a lovely son, and I think that's really. That maybe she had something to do with that.
Yes. Her pulling the strings from above.
Yes, exactly.
I like it. That's beautiful.
Shout out Denise.
Yeah. Shout out Denise. Now we're gonna kind of go into a segment just doing a bit of a review on some of the news stories from over the past year that we've covered here on Megaherzzz. I think one of the ones we wanted to point out was that we also haven't got the chance to give this full update on since we weren't here last week. But as you may or may not know, the pause that was instated by the Health Minister, Tim Nichols, on stage 1 and stage 2 hormone therapy for under 18s, which is hormone blockers and testosterone or estrogen, is going to be kept in place. There was a report that the government commissioned throughout earlier this year. The report was in fact released and found that treatment decisions must be informed by each individual's presentation and circumstances, and that with proper and cautious oversight, there can be benefit for a young person in being able to access puberty blockers. But regardless of this ban has been reinstated until at least 2031, following a trial done in the UK, which won't be finished until then, it's just so potentially devastating for so many trans and gender diverse young people in Queensland. We've seen that the report that the government themselves commissioned found that it can be helpful. All of the research that has been done into this topic has found that it really improves and lengthens the lives of trans youth.
So just to summarise that report, they found that individual people should be treated individually by the decisions that the doctor at which that they present to uses their medical knowledge to decide what is the best course of medical treatment for that person. And the government said, that can't be right.
Yeah, basically, because it doesn't fit with the thing that they wanted it to find. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is just potentially incredibly dangerous, and I wouldn't be surprised if young people die because of this. This is necessary healthcare. We've seen protest after protest about this. There was, I was doing a story that for Brisbane Lion actually, and I ended up going to the Supreme Court ruling where this was first overturned, and it was really beautiful to see because everyone had so much hope. Everyone was so excited for the potential for the good that this could do for Queensland's trans community, and just to have that all ripped away is just, it's so incredibly devastating.
Yeah. And we actually know that there have been studies. We know that trans affirming care does save lives.
Yes.
That's not just a guess. We actually know that. So how can we be purporting to be saving the children, looking after the children by putting them in harm.
Yeah.
By not giving them the best medical treatment as decided by individual doctors seeing individual presentations of those people.
Absolutely. Did you guys want to talk about some of the other ones?
What else has been happening in the news throughout the year?
On.
Yeah.
Thank you for that research, August.
That's all good. A lot of that was taken from an article by The Guardian, like a few of the words, by the way. I should mention that. But yes.
Speaking of taking a few words from somewhere, we looked into this. This is a very recent story. Well, not really, but it's become more obvious to me recently because of Locked In's Christmas special. Shout out to them. What an incredible day, full of hard work and amazing people, and good on them. That's such a wonderful tradition, and that makes me proud to be a part of the 4ZZZ community, listening in to especially CJ and all of her hard work. But there was a lot of discussion that I heard of this new bill that is taking the right to vote taking the right to vote for people who have been imprisoned for more than a year. So that
So the current situation is that anybody who is serving a prison sentence, a full-time prison sentence from 0 to 3 years is currently eligible to vote in state, local and federal elections. So they would like to change that. That is what the proposition is about.
Yeah, and the wonderful Debbie Kilroy has written an article, which I'm going to quote here, but she said in that Queensland's newest electoral amendment bill proposes to strip thousands of imprisoned people of their right to vote if they are serving a sentence of 1 year or more. Queensland's bill is exactly that, a sweeping disenfranchisement regime that will overwhelmingly impact Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are already mass represented in Queensland prisons. So this is going to be, if passed, this legislation is going to take away the right to vote for an overwhelming majority of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people.
And in further irony, what is the bill called?
What is it called?
Sorry, I don't have that in front of me. It is the Return to Fairness Bill. Which, what an irony that it is. We're talking about taking away people's rights as a form of fairness. I don't even know how they can do that with a straight face.
Yeah. But tune into Locked In tonight. Tune into Locked In always, because it's a fantastic program and they put so much work into advocating for incarcerated rights. And CJ told that story with such eloquency. We're not doing it justice, but it's important that we keep the rights of people who we can't necessarily hear from often in the forefront of our minds.
And I think Locked In is something that is so uniquely 4ZZZ as well. It's such an important part of the station's history and the station's makeup, and it is something that you just don't hear anywhere else. Yeah. Nowhere else in Australia and probably nowhere else in the world that there was a group of people that went, this is important, and it is important that these people have a voice. And, it is just a beautiful part of the 4ZZZ makeup. So there is yet another reason to subscribe.
One more thing on that as well. If you have a little bit of money lying around this Christmas time, it is a really good thing to do, potentially, to put $5, sign up to the Sisters Inside $5 a week program. $5 a week really is a coffee, and that's going towards helping incarcerated women. And I think that that's something that not all of us, but a lot of us can do to make a small impact regularly. Some other things that happened this year. Do you want to go, Sarah?
What else happened this year?
Well, Brittany Higgins won the defamation case, which...
a bittersweet one there. So yes, so she won the defamation case, which completely backfired because it now means that we can legally call Bruce Lehrmann a rapist.
Yes.
Officially, not allegedly.
I was going to say something horrible on air about Bruce Lehrmann, but I won't because we already know what he is.
Yeah,
he doesn't need any more
but legally
attention.
we can, and that's that's justice.
Yes.
Justice for going back for his hat when he could have just walked away. But no, it's yes.
What a putrid man.
Karma, maybe.
Yes. Let's go into some more positive news. We reported on this at the time, but from the 26th of May this year, coercive control has been a criminal offence in Queensland. So that is making processes of domestic violence criminal, and that is a great change.
This has been really positive because not only does it mean that people get charged with that, and people now have been charged, they have had the first people charged with coercive control, but it's really changed the conversation about what is okay and what is not okay, and what is considered abuse and what is considered or previously considered normal, and that people would just look away from. And I think that is one really important reason that we need to have these laws, is because it just changes the conversation and really reflects, what we as a society think is right and wrong. And
we still have so far to go, but also over in Italy in November 2025, sorry, got there in the end, they formally classified femicide as against the law, obviously.
Yes.
Obviously killing somebody is against the law, but femicide specifically, and that's a really interesting thing that I hope comes for Australia soon.
And that is something that we on Megaherzzz have been campaigning for as well, is to get the law of femicide as its own distinct law. And like you say, killing people is already illegal in Australia, so what is the point in having femicide or hate crimes or things like that? Why is it important to have those things as a specific law if they're already against the law just in general? And that reason is about changing that conversation and going, hey, this is something that we care about, and this is something that we think is wrong. And it's about opening up those dialogues and changing that conversation.
Absolutely. Sarah, you did a bit of research into some government funding.
Yeah, so some of the good things that happened this year. So in the budget this year, the government did commit an extra $21 million over 3 years for immediate targeted measures. That is a direct quote from the government's website. Immediate targeted measures. I don't know what those measures are, but to improve victim and survivor engagement with the justice system. Which sounds like a good thing. Any money, I think we need maybe a bit more, but 21, that's a good start, I think. And in addition to that, they also continued to fund the delivery of prevention, early intervention and response services. Again, not entirely sure which ones, but it's in the right direction.
Money! Yay! We did discuss how much money they would be putting into military, but we're not going to look at that because it's going to make us sad.
No, we'll just take it where we can get it.
Yes, exactly. Another positive news, well, I thought it was positive, other than the people who unfortunately died, but there was a Gen Z riots in Nepal. Those in September that followed the social media ban that was put on nationwide. Young people burnt down Parliament, and there was a youth-led uprising that led to an interim Prime Minister, Sushila Kaki, being elected as the first female head of government. And obviously that was a huge uprising, and elements of it were violent, but that was where young people took a ban that was going to take away their rights and their communication, and they elected somebody who is very, very good for the role, and she's still the interim Prime Minister of Nepal, and she was elected through Discord.
I like the irony of that.
Yes.
Well, and I must say, I am very glad that the social media ban in Australia did not lead to similar riots.
Yes, well,
Australia.
I think that it was for adults as well. Like, I think that there was it wasn't like for a reason. I think it was for censorship and preventing people from having dialogue with each other and criticism towards a government that was corrupt. Anything else? I think that it's also important that it was a horrific year for a lot of countries as well. Sudan, the Congo, Palestine. There's a flood happening in Gaza at the moment. It's an extreme weather event. So I think that it's important that we continue to show our Palestinian solidarity on this show, but also in our everyday lives, keep these conversations in the forefront of our minds. Again, if you have money, donating to Sisters Inside, donating to Palestinian solidarity organizations and specific people. And anything else, Sarah? I mean, there was a lot of news this year. This was just a quick throw together of some of the things that stood out to us, but yeah,
I think that your call for money there is spot on, because a little bit of money, you were saying before, a coffee of $5 is just a coffee that you wouldn't even notice, but can mean a great deal to if put in the right place.
Yeah.
And so and that's really what they need.
Absolutely. But yeah, and also rallying for keeping these conversations going is really important as well. If we don't have the money and the resources, using our voices to try to make change. But yeah, we talked so long that the computer turned off.
I was about to do a little dance or something and find a record because the computer turned off.
Okay, it wasn't as bad as
I just went to sleep.
We're coming to the end of the show. Sorry. Crazy. See you next year, everybody. Have a very cunty new year. Bye.
Stay cunty.
Isn't that what feminism is about?